Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If this finds you well, this video is going to demonstrate how to use KITE on a Chromebook so that you can take the KAP Interim test. We're going to go ahead and rotate the screen around here real quick and dive. So what we're looking at here is we've got the screen of a Chromebook, and if we look right down here, before we sign in, instead of signing in, actually, we're going to see this little apps button. We're going to click on this apps button, and we're going to see that we have KITE Student Portal. And we're going to go ahead and click on this. And the screen's going to refresh really quickly. It's going to say KITE Student Portal. I do apologize for the screen flickering. That's due to the refresh rate on the Chromebooks. So it's going to ask you for your username and password. We're going to put in a sample username and password. You will use your actual username, your real username and password that your teacher provides to you via email. So I'm going to sign in. And when we sign in, we're going to see that it says welcome back student. This is just because it's a sample account. We would see that it says your name in the actual test account. We see a sign out button up here, which we'll use in a little bit. Everything that we do when we take the actual interim tests will be through this take a test. We're going to go in this practice side of it and just see how it works without doing a real test. So I'm going to click on practice. We're going to see that we have three options here. We have English Language Arts, Math, and Science. For grades 3 through 8, you're going to have English and Math. And for grades 10, you're only going to have English. So we switch between those just by clicking on them. So we click on Take a Test. And we read the instructions. We read the general directions. We read about the tools, navigations, and icons. We can back out of that right now if we wanted to. We can have this read aloud to us. When we're ready, we go ahead and hit begin. So once this loads up, we're going to see some basic information. We're going to see the number of questions we have up here on the top. The current question is going to be highlighted in white. We're going to see the directions. We're going to see some information about the assignment or about the question as well. And then we're going to have the actual question where we need to do something. So the next thing we notice down here at the bottom, we have back and next buttons that we can use to navigate between the questions. And then we have a review end button that we'll look at here in just a moment. Over here on the left-hand side, we do have this little button. This is our toolbar, and this brings out the different tools that were talked about on the very first page. So we could click on those, and for example, we could use Take Notes, and that would open up like a little pop-up sticky note that we could use to write down different things. So we're going to close out of that. We're going to delete that little note, and we're going to go back and we're going to read the instructions. For this question, you'll choose a word from the drop-down menu to complete the sentence. A student is writing a report about Kansas. One of the sentences from the report has an error in grammar. Read the sentence and choose the word that corrects the error. In class, we learned that Kansas blank a state in 1861. So became, that sounds like it's probably the best choice. So we click next. Question 2 loads up. We now notice that question 1 is answered. It's got this blue dot in it up here. So we would read this. So again, the directions are going to change based on the question. So it's really important that you read the directions so that you understand what it wants you to do. For this question, you'll choose a highlighted word from the paragraph. Becky is writing a report. One of the words in her report is not spelled correctly. Read the sentences from her report and choose the one word that is not spelled correctly. So we see that moose is highlighted. We see that live is highlighted. We see wolves is highlighted. So we would want to come in and we would try to find the question that was not spelled correctly. So if we think wolves is not spelled correctly, we click on that to highlight it. And then we click next. And then we would just continue to go through, and we're going to go through and we're going to notice how different questions, again, so this says which 3 sentences best fit the purpose and audience of her notes. So again, we would come in like on this one, we would check our answers. So it asked for 3, so we would check 3. So again, we'd come in, so we would choose which ones are correct. Some of them, they're either going to be correct or incorrect. And again, I'm just clicking through answers so you can see how the tools work. Some of them are going to ask you to rearrange or drag. So you might drag that over and say, That's a fact. Dogs need food and water. A dog is the easiest pet to care for. That might be an opinion. Dogs are the best pets. Again, that's probably an opinion. There are over 50 breeds of dog. That's probably a fact. So we would go through, we continue. So basically we would continue to work through, and in some cases it may ask us to drag to rearrange. So we're going to answer those questions. Notice how some questions, there may be multiple questions inside of one question. So we make sure that we answer all the different parts. When we get to the end, it's going to say your progress. Every question we've answered has a blue dot. Every question we've not answered has just a red box. So we could go back and we can answer those questions. So we could go back to number 3, click on this, we could answer this. Then we could go over to 8 through 13, answer those questions. And then we would, once we're completely finished, we would go to review end. And we'd hit end. And once we're done, we would say, yes, we want to end, and we're finished. So, again, the real test is going to be taken over in this Take a Test portal. We're going to click Sign Out now. And then when we get to this screen, to actually go back to where you can sign in, we're going to press the power button on the device. We'll press it for about 2 seconds, and then we're just going to click Sign Out. And it's going to think for a few moments, and you're back to your sign-in screen. So again, that's how you're going to take your KITE KAP Interim test on your Chromebook.